Okay, I want to start with my picture. And this goes back before Pa. This would be Pa's parents. And their names are Augustinius. And what is her name? Coletta. And I just really love this picture because she's got a snuff box, which who would have thought of a snuff box for a woman to be carrying? And also, he just reminded me of a leprechaun or something. And I don't know anything more about these people. All I know is that they were Pa's parents, and one's Augustinius and the other's Coletta. And does anyone know anything more about them? A story or anything?
Never missed a party.
They never missed a party. Well, yeah, Beverly. Augustinius, after when he got really old and senile, lived with his son and Matilda, and she ended up caring for him in his later years. He did survive, and I barely remember seeing him one time. Now, this is Coletta and this is Augustinius, and now they've had all these children. Yes. So which child did he end up? The one in the lower left corner. This was Constantine. And his wife was Matilda. Oh, okay. We got a picture somewhere where the three women went to Belgium. He had gone to Belgium to visit his and Pa's sister. Okay. But he had sugar diabetes. Am I telling the story right? That's the way I got it. Anyway, and he wasn't well. And so they were afraid that he would not be able to travel back to the U.S. by himself. So they went over there. They got a chance to visit Stephanie, who was their sister that did not come to this country, and brought him back. But it was he and his wife, Matilda, what they called her, but it was Matilda. And they cared for the old great-great-great-grandpa when he got old. Okay, great. So what this picture is, I guess, is Pa Delmotte, which is Cyril Delmotte, was not the oldest child. This one looks much older, the one that ended up caring for the dad. And I don't know where Pa ranked. He was the youngest? Yeah. Oh my. And he does look very young in this shot compared to the other brothers and sisters. Well, so he's the one that we come down their lineage. So I wanted to pass that picture around because they kind of tracked Coletta and Augustinius and then Pa. And then I had a picture of Pa's sister. And I guess this must be Stephanie and her family who never came to the United States. They remained in Belgium. But I guess they came here and I got this picture as a little postcard. And so I went and took it and had it blown up a million years ago, probably 20 years ago, because I was so impressed that it was a postcard. So this is the one sister who has the Belgium family still in Belgium, right? So if you went to Belgium, those would be the people who would. But I don't know if he ever came here. Wasn't that taken in Belgium? Yeah. She did? She must have been very well-to-do to come here. Well, anyways, my grandmother died at the age of 30, and I think your father died at the age of 30. They were in the same, Yeah. You just pass that one around. It's my grandparents, Oh, yes, yep. And those are the couple of things I just wanted to bring today, and maybe I can write them down.
Your dog is eating something.
Thank you.
It's on the ground.
Oh, it's a little...
Oh.
You know, Belgian lace is really popular. Do we have any of those schools left or anything in the family from the Belgian lace? I know they used to make that in the old country. But I don't remember any of our relatives ever doing that. No. I've never seen either too. We do have some Belgian, but it was from when my dad and mom went to Belgium. Oh yeah, that we bought pictures. You're talking about the bobbins?
Because they make bobbin lace or crochet lace.
Yeah, nobody in our family ever did like
Hey, Val,
No, we bought them
you ever notice the brooch with the picture of the man on it?
No, I never even noticed. I wonder what she wore. That must have had some significance.
This woman standing up with her had a brooch on with a face picture on it, but it's not clear enough. But that was a man, I would say, by looking at it. short hair.
I mean, we've blown it up. It's so green now. I'm not sure we can tell.
So anyways, those are the pictures I wanted to bring out. So, who else would like to bring their stuff forward?
There you can see it's a man. That one you can't tell. It's too blurry.
What'd you bring?
Come on, Sue, you got something to
I
say.
don't know much about what I brought though. But maybe someone can
Say something about the family.
Uncle Al about the weird birds.
Got that wagon. Here comes Susan.
Sentimental and one that was just, I wasn't sure what it was. This is a piece of crochet work. You believe that my Delmotte supposed to have made. I have no idea when she gave this to me. It's been in my sweater drawer forever, and I can't bring myself to use it because I'm afraid something's going to happen. You can stuff it. Like the pillow slips that they had. I don't remember Ma ever doing this. By the time I came along, she didn't even have any trinkets out. Mom said she remembered these, though, somewhere in the house. And Uncle Al knows something about these. They're, I think he said cowhorns. Did you have those? Yeah. Ma or Thomas gave them me a long time ago. One is broken, so it falls out, but, you know, they were just kind of unusual, but great, huh? Do you remember seeing these?
Yeah, I forgot the cat brought my home.
I really don't remember anything in the house except that great big huge radio that as you walk from the kitchen into the living room, right there, and I swore it had to get Taiwan because it always sounded squelched no matter what station it was on, and I don't know if they ever really heard anything on it or not. And this one doesn't want to stay up.
Uncle, you brought those?
Yeah, that's from the war.
From South America. When they came back on a merchant tanker. They come through the canal, docked the tour stove to pick up oil. And that's when I bought them.
And then I brought this little chest that was given to me before I remember. This was made by Uncle Phil. It's got my name, and it's actually made 10 years before I was born. He put the date on it knowing I'd be along.
Nice try.
And he made it 10 years before I was born, knowing that I'd come along and what I'd be named. So he had great intuitive power.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, I convinced one of Dawn's boyfriends one time that I had Gail at age 13, so if I could pull that off, I could pull off anything. Thank you very much. Oh, Gail. Gail wants to show something else. Come on. She's a teacher. She can do this.
Yes.
Come on, Gail.
Come on, I'll go with you.
I'll
go with you. Come on.
Come on, bring it over.
Come on, here comes Susan. Come on, get that wagon.
There it is.
Gail, you should get more practice teaching
No,
older
let-
kids.
I
want
wanna
Gail to
see her
teach
roll it
college
in.
and make money. This elementary school is crap all up. That's Uncle Phil made
Hear that,
too.
Jane?
Show the front to the camera. That's so cute. I gave Gail that because she's our professional decorator, and she lives in a place where you can keep stuff like this, and nobody's stolen it. It's been there for how long now? They admire it, but they don't take it, so it's got to be a good neighborhood. So I gave that to Gail.
They're just afraid of me.
It says on your cover, Susan. So this, you must have been a little child when he made that for you.
Remember Mom and Pa had a wheelbarrow like that.
Oh.
And she always wanted it, so he made her one, Phil did.
Who else wants to share something with us?
Ken, you want to talk about this? You probably use this. Well, what
do you
Ty used
remember
to
about
do is he would till up the garden first so the soil was pretty loose. You couldn't do it on something hardtack like this. And then I can remember him going along, and his boots were always in dirt, that thick, you know? And you kind of put it in, and then I guess you pull it apart so the seed would drop.
Open, go in.
Like you couldn't tell this.
You're doing backwards.
I never used it. I only walked
You do it
behind.
backwards so you can spike into the ground. Open it up, seed drops out. Close, bring it up, kick over.
How do you know? Did you do that, Kitty? Did you
I've seen it done enough.
Oh, I thought maybe you were alcohol when you were a little kid.
He planted 40 acres of corn with that thing. Good job, kid.
People planted it deep.
Kid, did you repaint it or anything?
You know, I'm looking here, this side I would say was not repainted ever. It says Acme.
No, I guess not.
Acme Line Manufacturing Company.
So who used that?
Wiley Coyote.
Never Clarence.
Clarence did too, oh yeah.
Clarence did, okay.
Yeah, China here. But I never looked at it to know that it said Acme on it. Well, I guess that damn Roadrunner does get stuff from Acme. Coyote.
If I could tell you, you have the bag.
What's that?
Stop taking the, to tell about your beer label.
White wedding dress was Emma when she married Todd's brother. She had money. And hers was white. Didn't she wear a veil? Maybe that wasn't the style then. Right. Maybe white dresses didn't come in style until this century.
The thing too was that nowadays women put their bridal gowns away. They didn't have that luxury. They had to wear those dresses. Those would be their good dresses for a long time after that. And that's why they were dark, regular clothing. Beautiful, but, you know, regular clothing.
Well, I just wanted to show this picture of my mom and dad's wedding. And my mom, every time she would show this to me, she would always say, she was so upset because the photographer didn't fix her veil nicer on the floor. You know, make it pretty. Like she said he just like kicked it over there and they took the picture. And that's my Aunt Mee, sitting right there. Haven't changed a bit. Very stylish.
Who was the best man?
Jerry. The best man was Dad's cousin.
Amo the mayor.
So that was Ma's
Oldest brother's son.
oldest brother's son. Certainly, Beverly. And this is my dad's World War II sailor hat, which he tried to wear the other day, but it wouldn't fit.
His head has gotten bigger or smaller? His head has gotten bigger or smaller?
I'm not going to comment. Bigger. But when we were on vacation up at Curtis last week, Jim put it on. Show us, no? Okay, it's got his name stamped on it. And then Lorraine had it all these years. My dad had given it to her. This and his like white
His midi blouse.
midi blouse. So I have that at home too. And then if you're interested, these are my grandkids. Who hasn't seen them? They're just precious.
We know that.
What are their names?
Huh? The twins are Hunter and Jake, and then Ted's are Evan, Austin, and Michael.
Oh.
And they're darling.
Yeah.
These are just.
And who do they look like?
Okay, so now they're all blonde. I can't take credit for them. Their uncle, yeah. Blonde. So that's
Out of here.
me.
You're getting taller, are you? Taller? Yeah, you're getting taller. Yes, I am. Go right through my hair. I didn't shoot you when you're up there.
You did?
I was being good.
Oh, boy. See how nice he is?
When we were talking about wedding pictures, when we were talking about wedding pictures, and she was showing you the pictures of like Ma, Delmotte, and the people, their dresses were all dark. And when I was collecting pictures, the only one I ever came across where the woman had a nice white dress on and her attendant was obviously in some light color. And this was Emma, who married Todd Delmotte's brother, Theophil. And I think her family had money, at least that's what we deducted, because they all ended up pretty well off in California. But of all the pictures I ever collected, and anybody else has seen, she's the only one that had the white dress with the nice big white hat, and so did her sister. And I always thought that was interesting because they all got married in the same era. But yet she was the only one that had the white. And quite pretty and ornate, it appears. And it looks entirely different.
Was that in California, Lorraine?
No, she got married here.
Can't tell. Well, let me see. 1884 is when she was born. So maybe just the turn of the century. They got married at age 20, right? Just the turn. Yeah, I don't have a date on here. Now, Patty's got a picture in that white book of this lady and her family. I don't know if they, and she got that from Joe Delmotte in California when they went out there on a visit. And I don't know if she had any more information or not. Patty might know that. But I always thought that was kind of pretty. Sure.
These are the same people that stood up in Pond
Yes.
wedding.
Yes, that's right.
Is it in the sewer?
Yes, they stood up for Pond wedding, and this and the sweater stitching.
They couldn't resist.
I couldn't help myself. I lost my head.
Right in the butt.
Like only yesterday.
I know, yeah.
When I got her why she was hanging on to that guy.
I love this gun, Pat. Where are you? I love this gun.
That's Patsy. And so Mom had it. It was on her dresser for a long time. And when I was supposedly dusting Mom's dresser for her, I would take it down. It had a glass globe, but I would take the globe off of it and I would take all the little things off of it and examine it and play with it. And dust it, of course, and then put it back up. But this was Ma's, so I brought this as my remembrance. But I don't have any other artifacts, but I do have a story about Ma when I was a little kid. Usually when we went over to Ma's, we were there with the whole family. And so Mom and Dad would visit with Ma and Pa, and we kids would just sit and be bored. But for some reason, one time, Mom took me over there and I was being babysat there. And Ma used to scare me a lot because she was a pretty big, stern woman. And she didn't smile and make jokes and stuff a lot. But I was there by myself this time, so I was kind of scared. And she made me a wand.
A what?
A wand.
A wand?
Yeah, she out of like a stick or a pencil or something, and then she cut out a star and she covered it with tinfoil. And told me it was a magic wand for me to play with. And I remember, I was a little bitty kid, and I remember that.
Are you talking about Mom Delmotte?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because it was so out of character for her that I remember that she did that. And she told me, you do this with some magic wand for you. So, probably because it kept me busy then for the rest of the day. Doing things with the magic wand. But yeah, that was so different for everything that I remember for her. And the other story I have is about Uncle Larry, who lived with us. For how long did he live with us, Mom?
When he would come home on leave, he would always stay with us. He lived with us for a while.
He did, with white socks sticking out the window.
Yeah.
I don't know, he was just always
I don't know.
Yeah, he was always around, and I was his favorite.
Yes, you were.
I hated that.
And so he would go out in the evenings. He did a lot of going out in the evenings, and either we would find him. Sometimes we'd find him in the car, but sometimes he made it up to his bed. And so we kids would sneak in and see if he brought anything home with him from the night before. And one time we went in there and there was this great big panda bear that he'd gotten at some fair the night before. We're like, Uncle Larry, Uncle Larry, Uncle Larry. He's like, what? Who's the bear for? Well, I knew immediately who it was. There's no surprise. The bear was for me. Said Barbara. He didn't even roll over. And she was really unhappy with me about that until she had to get smashed in the face with a brick and get a ride to the hospital in order to get some little tiger from Uncle Larry.
Yes, I got the tiger.
You got the tiger, yeah. But normally I got everything from Uncle Larry. And he would even take me to A&W with all his buddies, and some friends worked there. And so they would sit me up on the counter, and they would give me little frosty mugs of root beer, and I would get to keep the mugs.
Oh, you idiot, he did that for all of us.
Where's your mug? Anyway, those are my stories.
I want to know if you broke the globe when you were dusting that, do you?
No, I did not break the globe.
Oh.
No.
And you're not going any further with that story.
I didn't, but I'd eat them just because it was like a sneaky treat. Sneaky treat. But I was about 14 when she died, and I guess she was so impressive in my life that I got a necklace. And when I got the necklace from Mom, it had a
Big Newton on the end.
Your two brothers.
I think my two brothers.
Roland is still here.
But he's not here.
So say something about him.
I don't know why we call him Uncle Rode. Most people here know him as Rode. Someone said to me, what about Rode tonight?
How about Monk?
Well, his son corrected me at Uncle Clarence's funeral. Stephen told me we don't call him Rode, we call him Roland. And I was very hurt by that because I didn't even know that. And so I wrote him a note just recently and asked him, why do we call you Rode? Like, is that like a nickname? Like, you know, people call people Dick for Richard or whatever? And he said, Rode is a family name that comes from I don't know where. Maybe Uncle Al would know. Someday I'll ask him. Ma, meaning his wife, always called me, Ma, meaning
Ma Delma.
I'm sorry, Ma Delma, always called me Speed. Because while she was getting me out of one situation, I'd be looking for something else to get into, and she could not keep up with me. Somewhere in high school, I picked up the moniker Monk, and it was stuck through the Navy. Probably helped that I had it tattooed to my right forearm. Steve asked the surgeon if he could save that tattoo and use it in the reconstruction after he had his arm torn off. But it was a mess. At NASA, almost everyone called me Del. And here in Pennsylvania, they call me Roland, or Roland C. While at NASA, the song Proud Mary became very popular. And at an office party, the group substituted and sang Roland C. Delmotte for Rolling Down the River. You hear that? Roland C. Delmotte. And it was fun. And some people call me some unprintable name, but that's their problem. So then he went on. So I thought that was really cute.
When he was real little, he was down the street, we called him Rhodey. Little Rhodey, he was about this big, and he looked at my dad, he'd say, Mr. Jaworski, you know, and my dad just listen to him talk, but just like one of these.
Because he was walking up and down the road.
Yeah. Rhodey. It was Rhodey. It was Rhodey.
Why was that?
I don't know.
Probably, I got a feeling my mother probably called Rhodey.
Oh, yes, Rhodey. That's the only name I ever heard. Rhodey.
Rhodey.
Always
His
Rhodey.
mother wanted to pronounce Rollins.
I often wonder too where on earth my mother got the names Roland and Lawrence, because they are certainly not family names. And one day I was talking with one of the Bestie family, and he says, my Uncle Ralph. And I said, what is his full name? And he says, Roland. And I said, what are the rest of your uncles? Blah, blah, blah. Lawrence. So that apparently my mother must have liked those names. Yeah. And of course the Besties and Reichenbachs were all intertwined, all lived in the same area. So she must have liked those two names, and finally after all these years I found out probably why they were named that. Yeah. Could we have this group come around over here behind this group, please? And then we'll cut the cake.